All right, guys. Hey, welcome back to the Noble Podcast. As you know, we've been trying to get these podcasts uploaded on a consistent basis. Today, I'm joined again by a familiar face, Vahe. Welcome.
What's going on, guys?
And we have a new guest today, Hrag.
Hey, Michael.
Do you want
How's
to
it going?
introduce yourself?
Yeah, my name is Hrag Koyoumjian. I'm an attorney. My firm is called Seven Hill Law APC out in downtown Los Angeles. And yeah, I'm here to talk to you guys a little bit about what you guys want to talk about.
Yeah. So typically, we last time I know that we had a little bit more of a game show type thing where we were asking questions, but today, I think it's better if we just attack topics that are relevant in our lives, things that are happening lately, because I'm sure there's a lot of stuff that we could touch base on.
But before we do that, I don't mean to interrupt. You're not just an attorney, you're also a teacher.
That's right.
Why don't you kind of tell the people a little bit about that?
Yeah, I appreciate that. I started teaching about 5 years ago at UCLA, specifically UCLA Extension. I teach the Business and Securities Law module in that program. So everybody in my class is vying to become UCLA certified paralegals. In the near future, I'm going to start teaching torts and personal injury to them as well. And I love teaching. I think it's one of those things where, you feel fulfilled after you're done.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
How did you become a teacher?
How did I become a teacher?
Yeah.
I was just explaining this to Vahe. It happened by chance. And this is why maybe a topic of today should be how you should grow your network and keep in touch with people that, you meet along the way.
Absolutely.
I think that's very, very important.
Yeah.
So it was through a mutual friend who knew about an opening. He knew that I wanted to teach at some point in my legal career. So it kind of happened quicker by that opening. And he told me, hey, look, they're looking for an instructor. And so I applied, I interviewed, and then I ultimately got the position.
That's so cool.
Yeah. So it was amazing. I couldn't be happier. It's one of those things, like I said, it balances out the grind of daily practice.
Right.
Having your own firm and operating it. And then I usually teach at nights. So that's a good, a respite from the day,
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So just so we can fill in anyone that's watching. So you and I were roommates, right? Back in law school.
Feels like a lifetime ago.
Do you remember that?
Yeah, absolutely. I remember that. Of course.
Yeah. And then you graduated 2 years before me, I think.
Correct.
Right?
Loyola Law School alum. Exactly. Yeah. I was class of 2012.
Yeah, I was 2015.
Wow.
2015.
Yeah. It's been that long.
Yeah.
Wow. This is my 12th year of practice, to be completely honest.
And we were very close. And then I feel like you like start traveling, you like went off the grid.
Yeah, this is that's a good point, because another very important thing I think professionals kind of drop the ball on is the work-life balance.
Yeah.
I think that's a real important thing to consider.
I would, not to interrupt, but I would say for attorneys, that's probably one of the biggest issues.
The biggest.
Out of most professions, how many attorneys do you know that work? I mean, I'm sure all of us here do, but I mean, you don't work a regular 8-hour, 10, 12, 14. Sometimes your weekends are done. You go on a vacation, you just end up being on the phone the whole time. Yeah. Happened recently. My wife was very upset at me. But what are you supposed to do? I mean, it's, timelines. There's deadlines, and there's a lot of deadlines in being an attorney, a lot of deadlines. And especially in litigation, there's a lot of deadlines. So it ends up, whether you like it or not, you have to do it. And
absolutely. And I was going to just, another thing to that point is that burnout in our profession is a real thing. It's not just a phenomenon.
Yeah.
It's one of those things where I experienced it myself. I worked at Big Law for a while. And then while I made the transition to the solo game, I felt that the brunt of it, and I really reconsidered my decision. I said, is this profession something that I wake up happy about?
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. And that kind of navigates or helps you navigate through that by making sure that you take on cases that you feel passionate about.
Yeah.
That you kind of have like a vested interest in. and that makes the job a little bit easier or more tolerable, at least in terms of preventing burnout. I had a big caseload with cases that like I said, that I maybe generally didn't really feel attached to,
Right.
or something that I didn't feel passionate about. And so it felt more like work with every, tick of the clock. And that's not a good mix, but you pack on the hours, right? I was doing 60, 70, even sometimes 80-hour work weeks, and that takes a toll. You could take as many vacations as you want, but if you come back and you're still working 80-hour work weeks, there's going to come a point where you're going to hit that brick wall.
Before you break into your next thing, I want to say one more thing about that. That was one of the biggest issues for me when I first started, because people call you, they know you start your firm, they say, hey, I have this friend who needs this. Oh, this person needs that. And you just start saying yes to everything because you just started the firm and you're like, I'm going to take all the business I can get. And then eventually one of the things you learn is how to say no. As hard as it is and as frustrating as it might be, like how to say no to potential cases, because 5 to 6 months down the line, it's going to be a big headache.
Exactly. That's what that's another great point you brought up, because when you start a case, right, sometimes you might think it's going to resolve quickly, but even the worst cases take as much time and effort and energy and resources as the good cases, right? Where, let's say, liability is clear.
Yeah.
We're talking about personal injury here, right? Yeah. You have to talk about coverage and then liability, and then ultimately damages. And so, those bad cases that you could get sucked into because you said, you're a nice guy, so you say yes to everything, right? It opens the door for you to kind of suffer in the future. But
you're right. I mean, saying no is like one of the biggest things for me. I know I get a lot of calls, and I get calls about random stuff.
Yeah.
And I try to be as polite as possible and just say, look, this is not for me. You need to call this attorney's office, or you need to call the labor board. Like, I try to give them options just so I don't seem like a dick about it. Like, hey, sorry.
Yeah, no,
Exactly.
absolutely. You don't want to be an asshole, but at the same time, you got to protect your peace.
In those times where you do get stuck with cases that are just not ideal situations, where let's just say clients are not on top of going to appointments, or you end up with really low offers, litigious insurance company who's like not trying to work with you at all.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, just by nature of practice, you need to learn how to say no and anticipate some of these things from arising. Like,
exactly. And nothing, as you progress through your legal career, you're going to learn from the outset of the case, just by hearing some basic facts, whether or not that case is, going to be one of those that are going to give you trouble. But that, it takes time, it takes experience.
Yeah.
You have to work up those types of cases to know what those cases entail.
Sure.
And so I feel like it only gets better, especially for the younger attorneys out there, like stay the course, do the work, right? But at the same time, you're building up that knowledge that you need eventually to, if you ever go out on your own.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you end up hiring, or you're still running solo at the downtown office?
Yeah, no, I have like staff that I work with, and attorneys that I work with, but they're not at my firm. So some of the staff is at my firm. They work remotely, but in terms of attorney partners, I don't have any. Yeah.
Like, I feel like I haven't seen you in so long.
I know, it's been forever.
Yeah.
It's been forever, but I'm glad we did this. I think it'll be fruitful, I think.
You said something about staff working remote. I feel like nowadays you could run a whole practice remote.
Yeah.
I mean,
I don't think you need office space anymore. It's not like the old days where you need to have this receptionist here, secretary, paralegal. Everything could be done remotely, and it's much more cost efficient.
Yeah.
And it benefits everybody because people love working remote. You don't have to deal with the large office space. You don't have to deal with a lot of those problems.
the overhead that comes with it too.
Bro.
Yeah,
Overhead.
Absolutely.
Well, let me ask you this question on that point. You are right? That's the silver lining of COVID. I always say it's the silver lining of COVID. Prior to COVID, right? Whether you're going to start a business on the Secretary of State's website or go make a court filing, right? There was no online option.
Right.
There really wasn't. If I had to form a business in the state of California, I would have to go to the Secretary of State's website, pull up the PDF form, fill it out, and then mail it. If I wanted rushed, I would have to hire like a local company to go run it to the counter to get a faster turnaround time. So I say that's a silver lining of COVID that came about. But the question I have for you is, I don't know, do you like working from home? Are you productive at home?
So my office is in Encino and I live more towards Pasadena area.
Okay.
So for me, anytime I work from home, here's what I'm saving. I'm saving time. I'm saving stress because LA traffic is very, it's very frustrating. Very frustrating. Yeah. Like it'll take you an hour to drive 6 miles. So working from home, I get to kind of just wake up, wash my face, do my thing, and just get straight into work. And I realized actually I'm more productive at home than I am when I go into the office. Because by the time I get to the office, I've already been sitting in traffic. I'm kind of like I have to recalibrate myself. I have to get back down here, and I have to just what do I have to do today? What's going on? When I'm home, I'm just more at peace. I'm able to just get things done quickly, efficiently, but there is something about going into an office where you feel official. There is something about when I do go into the office, or I feel more like I'm an attorney. When you're working from home, yeah, you're an attorney, but you don't feel like you're an attorney.
Yeah, you're like in PJs or a robe.
Man. Yeah, exactly.
You're replying to opposing counsel in a robe. Yeah, there's a nice feeling.
I know
of that.
exactly what you're talking about. I mean, man, I've been working from home a lot since I had my baby Vincent. Yeah. And it's like I go from literally taking on like a new case or like talking to opposing counsel to like, hey, now I'm feeding Vincent.
and that's something. So listen, that's something that when I had my kid too, I'm like, however much time I can be by my kid, if that means working from home gives me more time to do that. Like having a child, having a kid, and having a family really changes your perspective on life and your perspective on work. And you stop. I know people who were working 12, 14-hour days, average, weekends, no matter what, who the second they had a kid, they just realized like, yeah, this is important, but I'm never going to get these days back. I'm never going to get my kid being 6 months, 7 months, 8 months, because it moves very fast.
Bro,
it moves very fast.
I love it, but it does take like a certain level of patience because you're dealing with a baby who's like variable, unpredictable. You don't know when they're gonna pop off or
woke up pissed off.
Right. I mean, same thing with opposing attorneys. A lot of times you don't know what you're dealing with. Sometimes every new case is like it's a coin flip. Are they gonna be rude? Are they gonna be nice? True. You don't know. So
I don't know. For me, I think my productivity levels are way better in the office versus at home because of this like continuous uninterrupted work I'm allowed to do at work. When I'm at home and I'm trying to do that same work, I get sidetracked.
Yeah, I could see that.
And that is a little bit of a, and then you have to get back into the mode of, okay, I got to get back to work, right? And that's the one thing I don't like. The other thing also is the camaraderie of an office. So if you have staff and people that come into the office, and you see them face to face, I think that makes it so much better in terms of work product, the type of work product that's being produced. When someone's at home, again, you don't know what type of, office they have, the desk, the setup they have. So it makes it a little bit more, I think, inconsistent. I do miss that aspect of it.
Sorry, finish?
No, you're all good. I was just saying I miss that aspect.
What mix of cases are you doing?
What mix of cases am I doing?
Mix, yeah.
So I do mainly class action, mass torts. For class actions, within the class action realm, I do employment-related class action. Okay. So a lot of like wage and hour, misclassification cases. And then I do consumer-related class actions, right? And then after that, I have a personal injury branch of my law firm. So your run-of-the-mill car accident cases, some slip and fall, although I'm not a big fan of slip and fall cases. And I do some business law. Only transactional. I don't litigate business law aspects. But I advise and I counsel businesses on, let's say they need a contract or an employee handbook or stuff of that nature.
What's like something big on your plate right now?
In terms of
just work,
like
stuff
cases?
You're doing, like I haven't heard from you, so I want to know like what you're up to.
I don't know if I could talk about specific cases.
Not
I mean, we'll keep it kind of, without naming defendants or parties too.
No, don't do that.
I had a class action that had been filed pre-COVID, going on 5 years now. Yeah. Okay. We've mediated on it twice. And lo and behold, I mean, we just got the notice in December that they filed for bankruptcy. That's one of the worst things you could.
It's game over.
It's pretty much any bankruptcy filing stays the proceedings. So until the bankruptcy is resolved, it's not going to move forward. You know, so that is one of those things where imagine pouring 5 years, weekly meetings with other
and it's on contingency, right? So you're like,
it's not contingency.
It's
No,
not?
class
Oh, okay.
actions, you don't get paid off of contingency. It's about the amount of work you did, the hours of work, right? Your hourly rate. And ultimately the court has to approve any fees that you're seeking.
okay,
Yeah.
You said something very interesting about the bankruptcy situation because he just went through something very similar with
the
one of
UD case?
his unlawful detainer cases.
The UT
where,
that term UD, because again, when I first opened up shop, I used to do a lot of cases, and the UD court was a court that I would often frequent.
Yeah.
I don't wish that upon anybody, honestly.
I wanted to help out this one client, so I'm like, hey, UD, I'll give it a shot. How hard can it
Oh
be?
God,
Hey, it was
this is going.
I asked Vahe for help a few times, and he was actually very helpful. So thank you. But yeah, he's bringing it up because his case was a mess.
the most like you know what, like say I've done X amount of UDs, not one single one of my cases was ever this frustrating, and I'm like, you literally
I can feel your frustration.
I'm like,
honestly.
any speed bump you could possibly encounter, your case had it. And I'm like, dude, after this, you should do more because at this point, you've seen it all.
Yeah.
So you might as well just continue doing
But that's what it is. You know, you got your foot in the door, and now you did one of those cases. You know what to expect on the future ones, and you see whether or not that's an area of law that you want to continue in.
I learned is that I have a great referral source.
All right, who's the slumlord? You know, no, I'm just kidding.
No, I represent the landlord. The tenants were being difficult.
Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, they filed.
Was it a non-payment issue or what was
like
it?
they didn't pay rent, and then they like filed for bankruptcy. They like tried to do a Arietta hearing, like a whole
everything they
bunch
could
of
possibly
crap,
pull out.
Yeah.
I mean, the last time I feel like I was in UD court, it was a UD trial in 2016.
Wow.
Yeah.
That whole process to me was very eye-opening. You know, like discovery in a UD trial.
It's 5 days.
It's 5 days, but at the same time, you show up ready for trial, and then the judge was like, "This is at LASC, Stanley Mosque, right?" And so he goes, "Go up to the 9th floor to the cafeteria with opposing counsel and parties, and present what you're going to present in front of me."
Yeah,
Really?
yeah, it's way
Even
different.
kidding.
That's
crazy.
way
So
different.
it was very, like I said, it was very eye-opening, and it only got more confusing as COVID hit.
Yeah.
Right, because there were protections for tenants and renters and leaseholders when it comes to eviction, especially for non-payment. Back in the day, when it was non-payment, it was a straightforward UD case. Like the tenant doesn't pay, okay, I gave him the notice. Now we're in court, and what's your excuse? Right,
Yeah.
there really wasn't one. But now I feel like it got a little bit more.
It is
confusing.
And he brought up really good points, like just about the because what we're saying, like the laws are designed in such a way that they don't want to kick people out of their homes, and it's all political.
Yeah, I mean, there is definitely a political interest in curbing homelessness because LA does have a big homeless problem, and we can all agree to that. So whatever the case is, they had to put in a lot of renters protections because, especially with COVID, people were getting, the short end of the stick, and there was a lot of problems for people. They just kind of, slowly but surely, things are kind of going back to the same volume they probably were when you were doing it. There's been an influx of evictions, and especially LA County.
Right when they opened it back up, right?
Yeah. They removed the moratoriums, and then you had an absolute influx. And my personal opinion is I wouldn't be surprised if they institute either another moratorium or they come out with something else to curb it because it's out of control. Like if you go to Stanley Mosque and you go to, I think it's Department 91, and you just look around, it's madness. It's madness.
I mean, my office is on 7th and Hill in downtown. I see it every day. I see the firsthand repercussions of it every day. And to go to your point, to offer some statistics, pre-COVID, we had around 40 to 45,000 unhoused people living in LA County, and that number doubled close to 100,000.
It's crazy,
after COVID. So yes, from a public policy standpoint, you're absolutely correct. right? They're even offering incentives for people to build ADUs in their existing homes.
Yeah.
And, the government's trying to help out with that. I mean, I understand the issue, absolutely, but there has to be, at the end of the day, there's going to be a party that's going to be suffering, and it's the landlords here.
Yeah.
Right? They also have a mortgage.
Yeah.
They owe money to the bank that they have to make monthly payments on. And so what happens when you place a moratorium on non-paying tenants, right? But the landlord is still required to pay the bank.
Exactly.
So what you saw, and honestly, that's part of the reason why you saw collapse happening in commercial real estate.
Yeah.
There's a big collapse right now going on currently. And it's not only really Los Angeles.
Oh, New York.
It's a lot of the metropolitan areas in the U.S. that are suffering.
For office space, you saw the building that got tagged up?
Oh, yeah. That was at that point, I mean, I don't know. That's a whole...
Think about this. Like, you live in LA, SF, or New York. Your cost of living is exponentially higher than
anywhere else,
most anywhere else in at least the United States.
Right.
If you have a chance to work from home and you can move out of the city, you could go live somewhere more affordable, make the same money, live a more peaceful, calm life without the you know how cities are. It's very quick.
Yeah.
You save money, you live more peaceful, relaxed, and you make the same money. 99% of people are going to say, yeah, I want to do that.
Sign me up, yeah.
And so the employers are seeing that. They're like, okay, why am I going to pay for an office space when we could just have everyone work remotely, be just as productive, most likely.
Yeah.
I can't speak onto that. I don't have statistics or anything about productivity. But, people are still being productive and people are happier.
Yeah.
Why would I take on this expense, this overhead? Why would I take on this office space, deal with all the issues? And you know what else probably decreases? HR issues. They're not dealing probably with the same HR issues they were dealing with. They're not dealing with the same level of harassment, employment issues. It's much more different now, I would assume.
Yeah, there's new issues too, though. Like, you can't obviously see the people that are working there, and you don't know who's half-assing it and having like another job on the side. And you also aren't there for the camaraderie he's talking about, where you get to bounce ideas off people in like real time instead of, everything is emailed and wait for a response. And it kind of takes away from like flow if your business is really all about flow and like tagging tasks after task, but at the same time, like you avoid a lot of those issues that you're bringing up.
But they still have, they still have, some of the bigger corporations too, even the smaller ones, they have internal, like Slack is one of them.
Yeah.
Communication methods. Yeah. So harassment could still be there, and, maybe discrimination could still be there. I've seen cases where, I've, dealt with cases where, the proof is in the messaging or the internal messaging system that they use. So it's still possible, but yes, maybe not as prevalent because person to person, it's a lot more different. And one more thing to go into that point, that another attorney told me the other day that really resonated with me. If you have your own practice, right, you're the captain of that ship.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the rest of the workers or the employees are going to follow, the beat to your drum.
Right.
And so he was making the argument, and I completely agree with him now, as to your presence as the leader matters.
Yeah.
If you're not there, do you expect your worker or your employee to work as hard as they would if you were there?
Yeah.
The answer is going to be naturally no, I think.
Yeah. Definitely not.
Right?
Yeah,
so
no way.
You're putting in the work, right? It goes to the whole Mamba mentality.
Yeah.
He had this great quote, which I think was, an explanation. So there was this one thing where they would call him a ball hog. Why are you such a ball hog, Kobe? Right? And he said, what are you talking about? Ball hog? He's like, I was the first one in the gym. I saw all of you guys come in after me and then leave before I left. And you want me to pass you the ball? You didn't put in the work, right? So it's one of those situations where, if you want a productive team, right, they're going to follow your beat. So you got to show up. You have to do the work. You have to literally make sure everyone else is also doing their work.
You're right.
And I think that's one way of making sure that, I'm sure you could do that in a virtual sense as well, but I think it's a little bit more hands-on in the office setting.
It's very hard to captain the ship, because you have to find the delicate balance of micromanagement along with giving people autonomy and letting them do their thing.
Absolutely.
Because nobody wants to work for somebody that's hovering over their shoulder every second.
There's also that.
One thing that you never want, and I think Hrag can speak to this, like playing basketball growing up where we did with the coaches, you don't want to be scared of making a mistake. Because when you're scared of making a mistake,
that's a huge one.
If you know you're going to get subbed out, or if you know that your boss is going to reprimand you immediately, or you're going to get fired,
what are you going to do? You're going to freeze.
Anyone operating from a position of nervousness, right? It's a big problem. So you got to find a way to encourage, but at the same time, hey, don't let them take advantage of you.
But honestly, that fear, I think it's better than letting people be too comfortable. At the end of the day, like a little bit of fear in employees to not fuck up will make them double check their work. They can't be too scared.
In moderation.
Exactly.
In moderation.
No, you guys are both correct here, right? And there's going to be that middle ground of leadership where you're going to be able to be effective communicator, but at the same time, you're not looked at as like soft, right? You're not a soft employer, right? Or somebody that you look at and you're like, okay, yeah, I'm not going to listen to what this guy says.
Exactly.
Because you can't lead that way.
You can't lead that way. No. So I agree with that for sure.
You see the Kobe statue thing? Were you there?
I was not there. I wanted to go, but I had to teach.
Was your cousin there? The one that worked for her?
No, she was also not there because it was her son's birthday.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I don't know. My thoughts on the statue. I love the fact that Kobe was the one that picked it out himself. Yeah. So I think there's a special aspect to that. But when I first saw it, right, when they unveiled it with all the confetti, something looked disproportionate about it.
I agree.
There was something off about it, and I think it's maybe the dimensions, but I love the overall concept. And I like the concept that they have 3 statues.
Yeah.
And there's like that part? That's 3 statues?
That's going to be 3 of them.
3 parts of his life.
A lot of the discussions I was having, let's say, with friends or other basketball fans was, what is the statue going to be? Is Gigi going to be in there? Right? I thought, maybe they would do something like that, but now this takes care of all of that because they also do want to honor Gigi's memory.
Yeah.
Kobe was devoted to, women's basketball towards the end of his life.
He was pushing hard.
He really was. Yeah. I mean, the last appearance.
Huge.
The last appearance at Staples that he was wearing that orange
sweater. WNBA sweater.
WNBA
man.
Sweater.
And
so I thought that was a good way of approaching it. But I just love the fact that the one that they unveiled was the one that he picked.
Bro, we're all like big Kobe guys.
If you live in LA and you're not, there's a problem.
I mean, even if you don't live in LA and you're not, you have a big problem. Especially, now looking back too, I'm so glad that he did all those podcasts. I was thinking to myself, when Michael Jordan retired, sure, maybe podcasting wasn't a thing, but Michael Jordan opted to take the, not the visible approach. He would just like every now and then he would say something, right? Like at an event, maybe, or at his like summer camp.
That's how Kobe was during his career. You never saw him anywhere.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. And then out of nowhere, he's everywhere.
Exactly. I was naturally expecting him to continue down that route, but not only did he like succeed in business, but he also shared all these, in my opinion, like dimes.
Yeah. Oh, he won the Oscar.
Oh yeah, totally forgot about that one. Yeah, he's also an Oscar winner, right? 41 years of life,
and like
right?
basically anytime he's on camera, every word that came out of his mouth is like golden inspiration.
That's what I'm saying. You go back right now, and it's like I'm just getting chills right now just talking about it. To be honest, like there are things that are going to be applicable to everyday life for the next 100 years. That he said, what I mean? And that's crazy. I think that's huge.
Jordan had like random quotes that he dropped that are just crazy, right? Like,
fuck them kids. Like I don't know if he actually said. I don't know.
No, like his Hall of Fame. Do you know where that originated?
What is
that one F them kids meme?
No.
I think there's a picture of him with like a bottle of tequila in his hand. And some kid's asking for an autograph, and he's just totally ignoring the kid, and he's just smiling. So I think
that's a real thing.
I think that was it, and also what it most likely is at his camp.
I was gonna say that.
I guess CP said like, if he misses a shot, the kids all get free shoes, and then he made all the shots, right?
Yeah, he was supposed to take a shot from like the free throw line and a 3-point line, and then like on another side of the 3-point line.
Really? This guy
he made every single one.
It's like anyone, all the kids get like free sneakers.
It's like at that point, just miss it. You're supposed to miss.
But
you're
that's
Jordan,
hard too.
$1 billion brand.
That's pretty sick too.
But he took everything competitively,
That's what
right?
I'm saying.
The competitive spirit. But
What else?
Did you guys see the game Sunday?
Super Bowl?
Super
Super
Bowl?
Bowl?
Yeah.
Thoughts?
I was moving, so I didn't really get a chance to like
sit down and watch
dial in. Yeah, but I knew Chiefs were gonna win.
Yeah, it's one of those things, right? You got
Mahomes.
My my formula for the Super Bowl is you go with the better quarterback,
Yeah.
right? And I think Mahomes is just head and shoulders above Brock Purdy.
In that moment, he's pretty flawless. Like his execution is avoiding mistakes and his like courage to like take shots. It's sick.
And tying it into kind of like the law thing, it's also experience.
Yeah.
Right? It comes down to experience. The guy's won 2 before, right? And you just saw him on that last drive again. I know you said you didn't watch the full game. Maybe you saw some highlights. But that last drive in overtime, you just see a man who's been there before, done it before, calm as the other side of the pillow, right? I don't know what announcer would say that, but he was cool. Sorry, I said
Stu
calm.
Lance said that,
Yeah,
but
Stu
I don't know
Lance.
if Stu
Cool
Lance
as the other side of the pillow.
I don't know if he came up with it, but
So
And Kobe said,
wow, that's a classic. Yeah, man, he's been. Honestly, if you had told me a few years ago that somebody had a chance to catch Brady, I would have said no chance. But he can. He has a very legitimate chance of catching Brady. And he has a legitimate chance of becoming revered as the greatest.
yeah,
3 out of 4.
Yeah, he's
been 4 times.
He's really
won
good,
3.
man. He's really good.
Brady went 10 times, won 7.
Unbelievable.
he has 7.
He has 7,
I thought
dude.
it was 6.
Yeah. No, he won with Tampa.
That's
at the
really
end.
hard to do in football, man.
Yeah, it's crazy.
That's really hard.
And that's like over what 20 years almost, or
Yeah.
Yeah.
He played for, I believe, 20 years.
something.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's wild. Did you do any crazy prop bets?
Crazy prop bets. No, I didn't actually, but I did some Super Bowl squares, with the friends and the homies.
Classic.
And I ended up winning. So that was good.
The big one or the? Or
No, just like with the one with the friends and stuff. So that was good. I won 3 out of the 4 quarters. So
that's
definitely everybody hated me when I was leaving.
Bro, you have a very I've seen you. Yeah, you get red and you just start laughing. And
literally, I don't know. I mean, I feel bad. Like I'm the guy who, on the poker table, like you win a hand, and you're like, I'm sorry, man. And you're not supposed to say sorry. That just makes everything worse.
They were in Disneyland recently.
Who?
Mahomes, he went to Disneyland like yesterday or something, right?
Oh,
I think they had the parade today, so maybe, yeah.
I didn't
see that. I didn't see that.
Yeah, they go to Disneyland after they win. That's like the thing, right? I'm going to Disney World, or
Yeah.
and Disney's
And then
actually
Disney cuts them a big fat
Disney's
check.
dealing with a lot right now. Disney could use all the positive exposure right now.
You're saying that that actress, right?
Gina Carano, yeah, she's suing them with the help of Elon Musk.
Yeah, I saw
Seriously?
that. I saw
Yeah.
Elon Musk saying that I'm gonna help her fund her litigation. But
I think he said
can you
that to
speak to us more as to what the grounds are of the suit?
Yeah, so basically, Gina Carano worked with Disney on The Mandalorian. It was a show. It was a Star Wars Lucasfilm
Yeah,
or
great
universe show. She was Cara Dune. She was like this tough, soldier type, general type mercenary. And basically, while she was employed, I guess she did a few things that Disney was not too fond of. I think the first thing she did was she was posting a lot of like right-leaning conservative stuff on her social media. Disney, as you know, is a more liberal-leaning company. She like changed her pronouns to beep bop boop or something like that. So I guess that obviously ruffled a few feathers. And then she spoke out against like the mask mandates, the COVID policies, and she compared being a Republican in modern day America to kind of being a Jewish person in Nazi Germany, or it was just dealing with persecution and stuff. So obviously, that was something that Disney was not too happy about, and they terminated her. So she, I guess Elon Musk had said, like, if you ever get fired because of something you said on X, like, let us know and we'll cover your legal expenses. And
she said all those things on X.
Yeah, on Twitter.
And he said that to everyone, right?
Yeah, it wasn't just her. He said to anyone, and I guess she kind of took him up on the offer, and now they're suing for wrongful termination, I think sexual discrimination,
Right.
and refusal to hire, or something like some form of. It's basically an employment case for the most part.
Sounds like retaliation too.
Retaliatory firing, yeah. And her argument, I think, is like, okay, I said these things from a certain perspective, but there were other people at the company who were saying divisive things as well. but not from the right-leaning perspective. They were more from the left-leaning perspective. So I guess one of her arguments is, it was discrimination in that sense, or targeted in that sense. And also what they did after they fired her, apparently they kind of smeared her name. They were, trashing her, not, Disney as an entity, its employees, its executives or whatever, I guess were trashing her. And she kind of got upset with that and decided to file. But
okay,
I mean, who knows what will come of it?
but Disney's a private company, right? So they have business that they need to maintain. If people aren't seeing their movies, buying their products, watching
Disney's
their
publicly
shows,
traded.
right? But they're not a government entity.
Correct.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. It still falls into the private marketplace, like consumers.
Correct. Yeah. It's a
So they can fire based
corporation
on
that's-
standards of conduct and, those other considerations that people try to bring up when dealing with the government entity, they would not apply to a company like Disney.
The only thing, like, I'm not on one side or the other, but it's like it all comes down to what she's able to prove. If it was in fact discriminatory, if let's say other people were making those same comments and not getting terminated or getting the same treatment, like you could make an argument. But I can't tell you what side is stronger or whatnot because I don't know enough about the case.
No, absolutely.
I mean, my 2 cents on that is honestly the first question as an employment attorney myself. You got to ask: is she an at-will employer, or is she contractual? Right, because that's going to really govern a lot of the relationship between employer and employee. She's most likely not an at-will employee, right? She was under contract for a specific production, which was The Mandalorian, and I'm assuming that's what the production she got fired off of.
Yeah.
Right. And so you got to really look at the rights of the employee and the duties of the employee and the employer within that contract. So what that contract says will be the starting point. But after that, if we're talking about discrimination, it has to be from a protected class.
Exactly.
Right? Race, religion,
I think he said
ethnicity. Gender, yes. Gender is a protected class. So if it is, and they can prove it, and they can substantiate their claims based off of the stuff that you've been saying, right? It sounds like a pretty good case, an employment case. And if that's, especially if there's unequal treatment along the board amongst gender. There was this one case that I worked on against a big corporation too, where the female employees were getting paid less for the same job title, same job description. They were getting paid less than their male counterparts. And so that is a big no-no, right?
Absolutely.
If you're hired for the same job with the same job description, same job title, but now you have somebody getting paid more than the other one. And they, again, time of employment as well. If you've worked there longer and you've worked your way up in the pay grade, that's fine. But they had started usually around the same time, and we were able to prove it, right? They have payroll, so they know that, but that's something internal that the employee doesn't get to see.
Right.
And they only know by if their coworker
Starts talking.
divulges that information. So sometimes it doesn't come to light, is what I'm trying to say, especially if the other employees are not willingly sharing, and nobody's willingly sharing their...
It was a bigger company, like a systematic thing that they were doing.
It was actually, yeah.
So I want to touch on the Disney thing. So when you're trying to assess the prospects of the case, obviously we don't have enough information, but what I would say more so than that, they don't care necessarily, I think, if they win or lose, because one of the remedies she's seeking is to be rehired. I don't think she's going to go back and work for Lucasfilm after everything. I think they're trying to set a precedent, not necessarily in the legal sense, but they're trying to set a precedent to make employers, in their eyes, I would assume, they're trying to not strong arm Disney, but Disney's right now going through a very tough time. Their stock is very low.
That's true.
They haven't put out any good movies lately, let's be honest. There's a lot of issues with Disney right now, and people are very unhappy with them.
Sure.
This is kind of like they're just piling it on here. And for them, it's like they just want to try to prove a point or send a message, I think, either way. And right now, Disney is prime for that because they are dealing with a lot. There's also the potential takeover, or they're trying to get Nelson Peltz on the board. He was a big shareholder, or is a big shareholder, and Elon Musk's considering even maybe buying Disney, apparently. So
are you saying that they want to send Disney a message to not fire people for things they say?
They're trying to, I think they're trying to prove a point, or they're trying to push forward this point of because somebody does not necessarily agree with the majority of the company, they shouldn't necessarily be fired. Now, we don't know the reality of it, and we don't go either which way with it. But, you know, they're not dumb. They know how difficult it is. I mean, they have great attorneys as well. Elon Musk probably paid for really fantastic attorneys.
Yeah.
You know,
One day.
So, you know, either which way, it's like win or lose. The fact that they're filing the lawsuit is putting pressure on Disney. Those shareholders are going to see that. There's a lot at play. It's chess. They're playing chess right now.
Let me ask you guys this, all right? I feel like because we're at this crux, the crux of the issue, I feel like, is what you post or what you say in I guess, personal opinions, should it affect your employment status with an employer, right?
Right.
Because, sure, she didn't say that in the privacy of her home. She posted it on X, or formerly Twitter. So my question to you guys is, should there be repercussions for what an employee posts on Twitter?
Bro, free speech is like, it's like America's, federal right.
The First
all this
Amendment
stuff.
protects it.
But you know that in the scheme of things, you can't always say what you feel and expect nothing to go wrong. Like, people are sensitive. People have power. People hold grudges to things others say. Like, you could say whatever you want, right? You're allowed to say whatever you want, but then it should also be registered in the back of your head that you may have to deal with the consequences
or
of what you're
repercussions
saying.
of what you're saying. Absolutely.
So,
I was about to. Sorry, I laughed. I wasn't laughing at what you were saying. It just that clip from the Chappelle Show popped into my head where keeping it real goes wrong.
Yeah.
It's literally a keeping it real goes wrong situation. But you're absolutely right. I think I don't think there's a clear answer to it, especially if your employer has specific policies in place. You know, they have internal policies. Every company has the authority to say this is the culture and this is the policies, the inner workings of this company. And if you don't abide by that, it could be grounds for termination. Yeah. And so it depends on what you're saying, right? If you're I don't know, I'm trying to think of a hypothetical right now, but if your policy or your internal company policy is saying you can't do X, and then you go on X and say something to that effect, well, that's going to ruffle some feathers for sure, right? But in terms of, I think just, let's say, political ideology, I don't think that should be...
Exactly.
Everyone should be free to express their political opinions without being, labeled. And I think that's what's happening to the country now. I feel like we're polarized. I feel like you can't say things without, political things without actually getting blowback. Yeah, and
it's
so
all polarized.
It is. So there's no discourse. What you want to see is healthy dialogue and healthy discourse. If I don't agree with Vahe, or if I don't agree with you on something, I'm not going to just point the middle finger and walk away. I'm going to try to bridge a gap. Yeah. Right? Why are you feeling the way you're feeling, or why are you expressing the views that you're feeling or that you're expressing? And I'm going to do the same. And if there's common ground, we're going to come to it. But now it's like, wait, what did you say?
And can I tell you why that's prevalent now?
You don't even know the individual yet, right?
Yeah. Do you know why that's prevalent a lot now? Anonymity.
And Twitter.
Think about where all this stuff is happening. It's not people aren't gathering together in a city square and having discussions.
They're
people
just posting online.
They're on Twitter, they're on Facebook, they're on Instagram, they're expressing themselves. And a lot of times you can express a very toxic opinion. You could be very toxic, but nobody knows who you are. You have a fake username. You have an avatar or a fake profile picture. You say whatever you want. Yeah. And you can instigate and you can rile people's feathers and you can do whatever you want. Get people together in the same room. Have people sit face to face and talk. I guarantee you that a lot of those issues would be non-existent. Because it's easy to be very aggressive and angry when you're behind the computer and you're anonymous. But when you and I are talking here right now,
absolutely,
you and I are talking, it's very hard to, be as abrasive as you can be. Yeah. So I think that's what has caused society to go down that path. Ever since social media became more popular, more prevalent, people are like, wait a minute, I can say this. Like, I can't say this, or I don't feel comfortable saying this in my classroom or with my friends, but I could go on Twitter and I could say it. And there's going to be, but there might be people, it might not be a lot, but there might be some people who will find my tweet, they'll agree with me, and then more and more and more. And this is how you have these right-wing, left-wing people on these websites. they push out these opinions. They know how to get people involved. They know how to get engagement. Engagement has been now all about negativity.
Right.
Like if you post something good, it's like, oh, cool. But when you post something negative, someone's like, I don't agree with that. Well, no, what the hell is this guy's problem?
The clickbait.
Yeah, it's clickbait. It's all cheap now. It's all cheap and quick. And now you're dealing with the repercussions of that, where now it's a very divided country, a very divided world in many ways. And
but I mean,
here we are.
Remember, they're finding other people's tweets from like 10 years ago, 15 years ago.
It's ridiculous.
It's like, and then it's only getting worse. I mean, if you look at a lot of the young kids, they're not really good at handling pressure, and especially when people disagree with what they feel, and they just lash out. And it's like boom, 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 boom. They have no ability to register these like feelings in the moment when they get heated and like calm down. Like they just turn toxic.
Yeah, I completely agree.
Yeah,
I think that's the nail on the head. I mean, it's going to be kind of we don't know where it's going to lead to. Honestly, where do we go from here? Honestly, do we fix it or does it go down?
I mean,
we're like toxic rabbit hole.
We're in an okay place because we all have friends that we share our opinions with, like-minded people, like all healthy discussion.
Correct. That's the thing.
But I'm talking about the next generation. I don't know.
Yeah. And it's getting more and more digital. It's getting more and more online. It's getting more and more, you're going to be dealing with a world in which personal interaction is severely limited.
Yeah.
Because you have this, I don't want to say virtual world, but people are, have you heard the term chronically online?
Yeah.
Like they're always online, whether that's Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, Discord, Minecraft, these games that they play. Like you're always online these days, and people are starting to get more and more, sheltered in this virtual world where you don't necessarily have to face the inconveniences you'll face in the real world. Yeah. If you don't like the way someone talks to you online, you just block them, you just get it out of the way. In the real world, if you're somewhere that there's other people around you and those people are of consequence, you have to deal with not liking what they say. But in the real world, in the online world, you can just put yourself in a bubble, be with people who think just like you, who act just like you, and you can shelter yourself from a lot of that. But at the same time, I think the beauty of online is kind of contradicting myself, is the fact that you can also be exposed to all those different opinions.
But we market online. So like I deal with the crazies all the time, right? I see it every day. Like, hey, like out of nowhere, someone will comment as if there's like I've done something like, oh, like,
on your Instagram.
I'm being the Twitter fingers,
I'm telling you, I got some, recently, I got it.
On your Instagram stuff, I'm assuming, right? Like on your posts, your marketing stuff?
Sometimes you'll get like random stuff. You're like, what?
I see it like sometimes attorneys will post and I'm just like, I got to go to the comments because
comments
I'm ready for it. And it's always like, I hate attorneys. They're scum. Yeah. It's like, okay, but what does that have to do with my ad? Like
Exactly.
So it takes also guts to put yourself out there, right? Sure. It takes guts to do what we're doing here.
Sure.
It takes guts to do advertisements, Instagram posts, because you're opening yourself up. Nobody wants to be ridiculed. Nobody wants to open their app and see someone's talking smack about them.
You're absolutely correct.
So it takes courage to even put yourself out. And a lot of people you see, like how many social media people have you seen? And you're just like, dude, how is this guy famous?
Like,
how does this guy do this? And you realize because they did it. That's the thing. They did
continue doing it. Consistency is a big thing.
Yeah.
And someone who's just started recently as well. Like that was my point of view always was, be more private, be more reserved, and I don't know, something happened last year where I was just like, I need to start marketing the firm a little bit better. And I did. And so I still, yesterday I got a message saying, congratulations on your new venture. And I'm like,
we've been here.
Oh man, this is like my 7th year for my firm, 12th year of practice. Yeah. And so, people are not going to know if they don't see it because everything is online. Everything is visual these days. People like seeing it. People like seeing it on their little phones, and if you're not making that appearance or putting yourself out there, then don't expect any returns.
Yeah. Bro, I started interacting with random people in like an elevator, like, hey, like we've seen your stuff on Instagram.
No way.
Yeah, it's different.
That one workplace harassment reel. Is that the one?
Yeah.
Everybody's like, dude, every time I'm
memorized the
scrolling through my
carpal tunnel one.
stories,
I have that memorized. I've seen that. I've seen that so many times. I know what's up.
I
That's
apologize.
a work entry. No, it's working. Is what I'm
No,
trying
yeah,
to say.
of course.
It's absolutely.
I know that
working.
you have to see my face.
Yeah, it's okay. I miss you. So
no, it's
it
the right
works
move.
out.
You guys
It
are doing.
works out.
I'm gonna start getting more aggressive with it too. And you guys are doing the right move, man. You guys
Trying
are
to
doing
think
the
of
right
like
move.
Absolutely.
other stuff too, like this podcast and like, we're gonna be doing a giveaway soon too.
What are you giving away?
What's the giveaway? I'm about to
A giveaway?
make some burner accounts. You know, just make multiple entries if it's something good.
Okay, so we're gonna be giving away for Bad Bunny tickets. I
Damn,
think he has
that's
like a
sick.
concert.
That's pretty sick giveaway,
That's
man.
sick.
And then when I saw the announcement, I looked at the comments, and it's like all these fans, like they're real fans. They listen to his music every day. Like, how the hell am I supposed to afford $1,000 tickets to go see Bad Bunny? So I'm like, this looks like a good idea to like. let
That
me
is
get
a
some
good idea.
Tickets?
Yeah, 4 tickets, like legit seats. I think the concert's next month.
So how do people enter the giveaway?
We're gonna set up some system with like likes and follows and stuff. I know my marketing guy has it set up.
You automatically have one entry. I'm telling you right now.
You're definitely gonna get
I
traction.
want those
That's for
Bad Bunny
sure. I
tickets.
mean,
Man. I want
yeah.
those Bad Bunny tickets.
Yeah. So
Maybe we could even rig
Bad
it so
Bunny
I win.
fans with carpal tunnel are definitely gonna.
from the hands. Yeah.
That's great. That's great.
So that's about it.
I mean, I got hit here. Last question. This is a question that I pose. We talk about entrepreneurship in my class, in my business law class. And here's a question I pose. It's a pretty simple question, but who is one of your favorite entrepreneurs, right? Current or former entrepreneurs, and why?
Okay.
Like, what is it about their, management style, leadership style that you like, right? And why would you pick them, right?
Oh, you want an answer? I mean, let's say Elon Musk.
Yeah, I love his style too, to be honest.
But
why Elon Musk?
Thinks outside the box, not afraid to speak his mind. I mean, I value those qualities.
Absolutely. What about you, Vibe?
I don't know. I don't really have
It doesn't
like
have to be one, by the way. It could be multiple.
Well, I would say growing up, it was my dad.
That's
Because I saw
perfect
him
answer.
do what he did, and he built his company and everything, and I saw the adversity he had to go through, as well as since I knew his story and I knew what he was able to accomplish. It's that growing up, honestly, like I didn't put too much stock into like heroes and stuff like that. It was mostly people who I thought were noble and had integrity and things like that. And I don't really have like an entrepreneur I look up to, but it would be my dad probably,
amazing.
more so than anything.
It's awesome.
Yeah, but why were you bringing it up? You just want to hear
No, I
takes?
mean, people have different answers for different reasons, right? I get answers in my class like, oh, the lady who founded Spanx, that was a great idea. Or somebody who takes something that's already in the market and then they add their personal touch to it, right? And that's now it's an amazing product. Right. Yeah. I don't know. Personally, I think the likes of Warren Buffett. I think Warren Buffett is a great leader. He had the same business partner, Charlie Munger, who just passed.
Yeah, he died.
For over 60 years. Right. I tell my class all the time, partnerships are like a marriage. Sure. Right. Who you partner up with in business is like a marriage. So you have to be very careful with that.
Yeah.
And so I also like his humility in terms of, he lives in the same house, married to the same woman that entire time. And I like that leadership style, where there's humility. He has the brains, he's a thinker, but at the same time, right, you think about the greater good of your company, not just your bottom line.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Yeah, I mean, I see that. I see that you like those things. I mean, I've lived with you. I know that. Like,
Yeah.
You value simple, same as me. Like just
Exactly. So that's why I pose that question, because you get a lot of information as well from the students why they're picking who they're picking. Right.
Fair enough.
But what a great answer. Your dad, I knew him. He was an amazing person. So
Thank you.
I think we'll end off with that. Yeah.
Dog, thanks for joining.
Absolutely, man.
Yeah.
This was so fun.
Yeah, this was good. We should do it
Always
again.
a pleasure.
We should do it again.
Yeah. So again, I do hope we do it again. I think it went well.
I'm ready, man.
Yeah.
Whenever you are.
Are we still recording? Are we still like on the thing?
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah, but we'll cut it off. Yeah.
Yeah. I think we're gonna sign off. So guys, thank you. If you like the videos, please like, subscribe, follow Noble Attorneys page, Baghikian Law Firm, and 7 Hill Law.
APC.
Right? APC. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. Till next time.